Hi everyone, Simon from Horoma Studio. Today we're going to have a look at this really cool image by Luca Gambini that was sent some days ago. It is depicting the Shao County Culture and Art Center from Zupei. So, interesting project, really cool image. I think I'm going to spend the next 5 to 10 minutes just saying how cool it is because there's not much to change, but still. So, when it comes to composition, here you can see we have a really simple image. So it is really nice. You have a really nice foreground, simple horizon line, and the building here and sort of hazy background. The overall idea, according to the artist himself, is that he wants to show how the to sort of emphasize the windows that are in the building to sort of show like the different types of openings that we have. And I think it is a really clever way to do it by having it lit from the inside, because if you had it like, say, having like a natural light, you would have like black stuff and it would sort of look extremely monolithic, and it would also look like maybe slightly dead and maybe too impressive. Whereas having it like lit from the inside makes it more like nice, and like sort of like has this idea of like a beacon in the dark or whatever. So that's really cool. I think in terms of composition, again, the way it is placed here is quite nice, because there's like many photos of the image where it's like cropped around like this. So it is a different type of framing, both works, but this one is really interesting because you get a bit of context here. So I think it is a clever idea. One thing I think that could be fun, I like the sort of like icy foreground with like the sort of plates or whatever. I think I would have more like still water in some parts in order to get like actual reflection, which would have made this slightly more, I don't know, maybe a little bit more interesting. There's also like an issue in terms of details that the reflection is a bit weird. I mean, like you would never get this type of reflection on ice. So you can see that this is probably like a Photoshop thing and having like a blending. So what you should do is to, well, I mean, like erase it in a more subtle way, because you can't get like this type of, there's like a issue with the seams here anyway. But overall, like the effect is really nice, so I wouldn't like worry too much. But I think, yeah, it could be nice. In terms of colors, I think it's really on point. I like the slight contrast that you have in this sort of like monochrome thing, which really makes the artificial lighting stand out, which is a good thing. I also like the variety with the intensity, which is quite nice, because oftentimes people get like having the exact same intensity everywhere, which is kind of boring. So I find it nice. You could potentially have like different hues as well, but I think in a museum it makes sense to have more homogeneous temperature for your lighting. If you were dealing for like a house, I would say it makes more sense to have like different shades of or different hues of or temperature of your lighting, because you usually have different types of light bulbs and stuff like that. But here it is fine. In terms of details, I think that could be fun. I would definitely add people, because I think there's this slight lack. Like we can understand that this is a pretty big building, because we have like a sort of sense of scale with the background, but it's so far. Whereas if you look at like a picture, this one, you can see it is quite interesting to have like this sort of like ratio between the people and the size of the openings. So I would really suggest having like probably 3 would be a good number. Where am I? So yeah, someone like where am I? Someone here, maybe just a group of people around here would be nice. because you would get like a nice, they would be like backlit again, would have like a nice cast shadow. It would be pretty cool. Another thing that I think could be improved is the texture itself of the building. You can see that here at the moment we have a really, what's the word? Where is it? Like the pattern, or like the grid or whatever, is really like regular. Whereas you can see that on the actual building, the orientation is the other way around. And where am I? The orientation is the other way around, and you have like this sort of sub bump or whatever, or relief, that is really interesting. And I think it would be even more interesting because we have this sort of like super what's the word, super smooth surfaces. Whereas, so basically you would have like smooth surface here, the water here, the sort of like, what's the word, sorry, clouds or whatever, like the haze. And basically it would have like this sort of like contrast with the more, where am I? Here. With this being like more like having more texture basically. I think it would be nice. I think you sort of have, but maybe it's just the quality of the image that is not sufficient, but there's like interesting effect that you should get in terms of reflection here that could be slightly more enhanced and have like more glossiness in some points and less glossiness in others, because you can see, for instance, maybe not here, but because we don't have like the right angle, but maybe I didn't take the right picture, but there's pictures on the internet where you can see that there are some really interesting treatment for the concrete. And basically, at first sight, without having like the actual reference, I wouldn't have been sure if it was concrete or something else, or stone or whatever. One last thing that I really like is the smoke here, which I think is really clever, because this sort of like makes you understand the sort of temperature difference between the inside and the outside, and have this sort of like really makes you feel the cold of the outside. So this is really, really nicely done. I really don't think I have anything else to say in terms of colors. I think it's nice. Maybe you could have, I don't know, I haven't even tried, but I don't think it's gonna be working that much, having it slightly, I don't know. Yeah, no, I think the colors are fine. It is really cold, but it's the whole point. And we still get like a nice contrast with the inside. So overall, I think the idea is really nice. I would just really add like people, but not that many, just like to get a sense of scale. So yeah, I'll stop there. I hope you've learned some, well, I would say interesting tips, but at least like I was trying to emphasize for once, like the clever approach that was done in this image. So hopefully you can use that in your next images. And thanks, gals, and I'll see you in the next teardown. Cheers.